What's going on, everybody?
Hey.
How you doing?
It's late.
What's real good with y'all?
I've been binge watching Fuller House for the last 6 hours. So
no, you haven't. You've been drinking, chugging wine is what you've been doing. Pounding it down. So the first round is done.
Sassy Glenn.
Has Sassy Glenn. So we I guess we should start with welcome to the MHRT podcast. This is our first round reaction podcast because we just got done with the first round. And I got to say, I'm not overly enthused. I'm not. I don't know, man. It's like, to me, I don't hate the pick. I don't have a problem with Patrick Surtain, but like, we could have done more. Like, we could have, if Justin Fields falls to 9, you almost have to take him. Obviously, we didn't, but you then could have gotten Slater instead of letting him go to the Chargers. You could have gotten another tackle. You could have traded back and gotten a linebacker, like something that would have helped immediately instead of, drafting in a strength that we already have.
We had Leatherwood staring us in the face and we passed on it. Unbelievable.
Oh, Raiders.
Well, Peyton just did like a post presser a little bit, but he obviously gave no good information to why.
And I don't.
Surprising.
Peyton.
Yeah.
Hey, you said it. You created it, Boggins. You said Stonewall Peyton. I mean, hashtag Stonewall Peyton.
I know. I've created a monster.
I just find it funny. Like, I'm broadcasting at my house, Glenn at your house, Don at yours, Boggins is at yours, Rich is in his car. We got Isaiah with the FBI agent watching the drug deal go down, and then we got Johnny driving his car with an extra large steering wheel.
I've seen yachts.
He's got to make the turns like this, turning right.
It's got the handles on it that he just
Oh man. Okay. So
those right turns, man.
I'm waiting for Jackie Chan to run by.
Yeah.
So obviously the big news, I guess, before we even get into the draft stuff, the big news obviously is the Aaron Rodgers not being completely happy with the Packers. It sounds like there might be a split happening, and the Broncos are named the leading team to get him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take it.
I'll take it. I'll take whatever years he's got left. I mean, he's a better than he's careful. He's healthier than Peyton was when we received him. I'll agree.
Well, and I mean, at this point, if you're going to trade for him, you got to pretty much trade players, right? I mean, you can't. Obviously, nothing's going to get done during the draft.
Probably not.
I mean, not necessarily, but the odds are against it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see multiple first-round picks coming from it, and a possible couple of players. But man, Peyton is just proving more and more how actually patient he is, and I until I actually see him pull a big move, I just don't see it necessarily happening. I know that we were in on Deshaun until everything, and in on Stafford until the cost was too much. And so I think the cost for Aaron, especially when they don't necessarily want to get rid of him right now because they're not. I don't know if they're really sure of what they have for with Jordan Love, and that would kind of put him in a predicament, especially with this roster that's been back-to-back NFC championships. That's been messed up by coaching and defense. I don't know. I'm not quite sure if it actually happens. I think we'll be more than likely going into this next season with Drew Lock, potentially Teddy Bridgewater at starter.
Well, I was just going to say the other big thing was that we traded for Teddy Bridgewater.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I mean, we talked about getting a veteran at the very, very beginning of the whole offseason. And, we were all thinking like Fitzpatrick or Darnold or, something like that. I didn't think the Bridgewater was going to happen just because his contract was so expensive. Obviously, I was wrong. I guess they'd been working on the trade for him for a month before that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're paying virtually nothing for a guy with a lot of experience. It's.
I mean, what is it? We gave him a what 6th round pick, and we cover what $3 million of his contract, and they cover like 7.5 or something like that.
Yeah, he's got 10 million guaranteed, so they cover 7 and we cover 3.
But we also
so there you
cover, as Marcus reminded me, we cover 1.5 of a signing bonus. So 4.5 when Driscoll was making over 3. I mean, my goodness. I mean, there's no comparison there. But it's. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say. I mean, it's an obvious upgrade over Driscoll. Like, bar none, a better backup choice. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna drop Driscoll pretty quickly.
We're gonna drop Driscoll like 3rd period French.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, Bridgewater already is familiar with the offense, working with Shermer and with Peyton before. So I honestly think he kind of has a leg up in this, or at least it's an even competition going into camp. So we'll see who actually does start.
I mean, do you think Drew Lock has a leg up, or do you think Bridgewater's got the leg up?
I think George Payton's done exactly.
You gonna finish that thought there, bud?
I don't think Bridgewater does that. I think Drew does.
No, he thought he'd do exactly.
Yeah, he's gonna do exactly that. Yeah.
He's gonna do exactly.
Yeah.
Hashtag do exactly. That's gonna be the next one.
Do exactly.
I think Locke has the chemistry with the receivers right now, for obvious reasons, but I just put Bridgewater's experience and already being semi-familiar with the system at pretty much almost even odds. I think besides the fact that Drew Lock has already been there, I think that may give him a slight edge, but we'll wait to see how he plays in training camp and if he actually continues to earn that spot. If not, side note, Ryan Edwards of Broncos Tonight posted that Peyton said that there are 8 players still on his board that they really like heading into day 2. Seems like not very many.
No, not really. Considering there's 7 rounds, and 32 teams that have to pick in those 7 rounds.
It's interesting. Interesting quote. All right.
So I'm watching Johnny, and it reminds me of Farley doing as the bus driver in Billy Madison. But that I digress. Here.
I can't get my face that red without having a stroke.
Shut up out there!
And also,
for God's sake!
Hey,
Veronica Vaughn is one hot piece of base.
There's been a couple of times where we've caught Mike on his way to work or on his way home or something, and he had to live stream from his car. So hey,
when did I do that?
There was one time you were going to Subway, but I don't think we were live.
No, we weren't live streaming.
We weren't live streaming, but
I'm always going to get food.
Yeah, I counted that time.
Here's a bummer take for Broncos country who wants Tevin Jenkins.
No, I don't want to.
Imagine if the Jets draft Tevin Jenkins and then they'd have Mekhi Becton, Elijah Vera Tucker, and Tevin Jenkins with the 34 because they have 34. So they just stack up their O-line for their brand new quarterback. Bummer.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Jets, did you notice that Zach Wilson took a page out of Boggins' playbook and was pictured in his bathroom as well?
Mm-hmm. I was about to say he was in his bathroom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Selfie.
Except he looks about.
Did you also notice that Zach Wilson is like 11 years
TikTok. Old? Yeah.
That's why you can't.
I was waiting for
him
to say it's a clip-on. It's a clip-on.
So let's grab some comments and then we'll go into the draft. Muhammad, I don't understand why we didn't move back to get more picks. I mean, Rashawn Slater, and I get that. Like, I wasn't a big fan of staying at 9, just because I knew that there were better players back farther. I mean, if we stayed at 9 and Justin Fields fell to us, I would have preferred we gotten Justin Fields. If his epilepsy got worse because of altitude, then that makes sense. I get that. But then at that point, I would have rather traded back and tried to get Rashawn Slater or gotten Slater at 9 or gone and gotten Jamin Davis or, something like JOK or something. I just don't understand why we went at 9 and got a position of strength for next year.
It was a safe pick. That's how you got to look at it. It was a pick of safety. You know,
No, it was a
you
pick
know
of
that
corner.
you know that he's gonna come together. Shut up. It was
Mike makes that
a
mistake
pick.
all the time. Just say defensive.
It was
back
a safe pick for Peyton. He knows that he's going to bring this guy to Denver. He's probably, he while he is, in a lot of ways pro ready, he's going to learn. He's going to be sitting behind, Kyle Fuller. He's going to be sitting behind Ronald. He's going to be learning from Ronald Darby.
Yeah.
And he's going to develop for, the possible, when those contracts end in the next few years, he'll be ready to jump in and fill that hole. I mean, he's usually plays in the slot, correct, Boggins?
Mm-mm.
No, he's outside.
He's outside.
No, that's right. He's outside. I'm sorry. My bad.
He's an outside press man, which
Callahan's
is weird
slot.
because we don't.
Callahan's the slot. Thank you.
That was. Oh. Are you talking about Surtain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Outside.
Surtain's outside.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Callahan's
he's
the
outside.
slot.
But he's going to be able to learn it, and it was a safe pick for Peyton. It was one that it may not be like the most glamorous, but to him, it's like, hey, I'm still building for the future.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is a weird scheme fit. Like, I mean, I guess
a little bit.
I mean, I guess it's how much you want to really take. Fangio did say in a presser that you don't really want to go off of the scheme fit because you just want to take the best player, and then you never know. I guess it depends on what your system is in college. You don't necessarily know if it'll translate for that player in the next level also. So I think they just kind of went, best player available on defense for them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think more of it is just being disappointed. Like, you've got 32 players that are on their contracts are coming up next year. I would have hoped for a pick that would have had an immediate impact this year.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not saying that Surtain is not going to have that impact, but he's coming into a position of strength that we just filled through the free agency. I would have much rather had gotten an inside linebacker or defensive line or tackle or
I was going to say
like
offensive tackle.
quarterback.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Take the
Like our
elevator.
secondary is going to be, if we stay healthy, our secondary is going to be legit and really give Patrick Mahomes and Herbert, who was going to have all day in the pocket now, fits. So I'm excited for that. I mean, they're going to have to hold him off if Drew keeps throwing picks.
Yeah.
So you need rotational when your players.
Hey, Boggins,
coming back on the field.
you're out of line. We only had 32 giveaways last year. Come on now.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad.
So Boggins
Last in
said
the
this.
NFL.
Boggins said this before we went on live, and I didn't know this. That I knew that Justin Fields had epilepsy, but you said that epilepsy is more gets worse in altitude, right?
That's what I've heard. Is that that it could potentially get worse in higher altitude, or it's affected more in higher altitude. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's necessarily. I haven't delved deeper into it, but that could be a potential reasoning for it, or they just didn't value it as high. Albright was also saying that their guy was Trey Lance. So, and it seemed like 49ers guy since the beginning was Trey Lance as well. That the whole Mac Jones was some. I don't know if it was necessary smoke screen.
I said it on our pod on Sunday. I feel like Kyle Shanahan's sitting out there in San Francisco, Mac Jones. Hey, everybody, Mac Jones, just to throw everybody off. I mean,
like, there's no one ahead of you that's going to take Trey Lance.
maybe, you know what? Maybe just so he can point and say neener on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I'll write that down.
If there's anybody out there that's got
many E's?
at least two.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta
if
get at
there's-
least two in each neener.
If there's anybody out there that's got epilepsy that is angry at what we just said, just remember I heard it from Boggins. So go after it.
Fair enough.
You know what? I said it from probably like the very first episode we did on this podcast when Peyton came into power, was the fact that he was going to into the GM position. That he was going to make decisions that a lot of people weren't going to like. And that's just how it is. We're also used to, and I keep saying it's like a broken record, things that if John Elway was still the GM, he more than likely would have went maybe maybe not even so because he's so high on Drew Lock, so he probably would have passed on Justin Fields as well. But
I think Broncos country in Dove Valley is much higher on Drew Lock than Broncos Twitter is, because Broncos Twitter erupted. And it was
they went nuts.
it was ridiculous. I mean, literally the first pick of the draft is coming in, and Broncos country talking about getting Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it doesn't stop.
I mean, unfortunately, the injury bug is the reason that I think that because they couldn't get Trey Lance, that the next best available player for the Broncos, in their sense, was probably Patrick Surtain. Because I mean, and I kept asking people, like, name me who the last two starting quarterbacks in the last two games for the Broncos were, and nobody could remember who they were. And I'm like, that's exactly why. Unless you were a true diehard, Broncos fan, then you probably remember. But it was just literally guys that Vic Fangio had to scrape up from, God knows where to go out there and go out there and play. So losing cornerback was a huge, huge bad thing for the Broncos last season, and the injury bug didn't just bite; it literally took out and decimated the entire roster. So it seems to me like this move was just to, give pride depth.
Like I said, it was safe.
Yeah,
George Payton and Vic Fangio. That's what really drove their decision. Was, hey, we got two cornerbacks in free agency, but I mean, we have players coming back from injury bug. Bryce Callahan. Unfortunately, he's injury prone. As good as he is, he's injury prone. So they made a decision based on, hey, we're not going to let this happen again. And
Darby too.
Darby as well, Darby and Fuller. So they understood, hey, we have Von Miller and Bradley Chubb coming in the pass rush. The next best thing is an elite secondary. So even though, last year we had some decent players, if they get injured again, then what? So now he just stepped up and said, we're going to get Pat. And he said he was the number one on the board, and I did not guess that. And most people thought Caleb Farley, but apparently between Vic Fangio and George Payton, Patrick Surtain was the guy. And I guess George Payton really excited to have him.
Well, and there's probably a pretty good chance that at one time Caleb Farley was number one on the board for him.
Until he had
the back surgery, and then the back surgery comes up, he moves down the board, and Patrick Surtain moves up.
Maybe.
Right.
So I have to tell you, I mean, the 2 hours of social media prior to the draft, when the whole Rodgers deal was going on, was so exciting. I was busting out. I was so excited. And that's why right now I'm like, I'll take let down for 300, Alex. It's just, it has nothing to do with Surtain. It was just, I mean, I still think that the Rodgers deal could be in play. Surtain could be a piece of that. I think I can foresee Sutton being part of that. I love Cortland, but we have to pay attention to what we're competing against for the next 10 years. And we have the Chiefs and the Chargers with star quarterbacks, young. And if we have any hope of making the playoffs, we need to improve on that side of the equation. We had a quarterback, and I've always loved Drew, but he makes a lot of mistakes. I mean, no one can deny that. I mean, the guy was throwing interceptions. Defense would stop the players. It would stop the team. We'd come on offense. Drew would throw an interception on second down. Defense would go back. And by the end of the game, they'd be so gassed, we'd lose.
Now we have a lot of depth
to eliminate those mistakes, right? No depth.
And I think that's on Drew.
I think he made a lot of bad mistakes.
But I don't think Justin.
I don't think
Justin Fields would have been an upgrade from Drew Lock. I think it would have just been someone different that Broncos country would have just criticized. I don't
highly disagree.
I don't think he would have been like an immediate upgrade, but I do think that in the second, third, or fourth year, more than likely second, Justin Fields would have outdone Drew Lock. But at the same time, like, we still don't know what we have in Teddy Bridgewater either. I mean, if they're going to have a quarterback competition, I mean, I don't like competition for quarterback because it doesn't work.
Careful, you're going to make Rich burst a vein in his forehead.
I mean, what would Justin Fields had to have done to top Drew Lock's numbers, like in his first year? Beat 15 interceptions or 15 touchdowns, 16 interceptions? Like, okay, Yeah.
I think that Drew
I
Lock
think
had
he
the
would have
leg
been.
up because whatever it is that George Payton sees, or whatever it is, I'm just gonna go with it and say, hey, you know more than I do. I mean, if there was any quarterback in the draft that if we would have drafted, would have been Trey Lance because he called his entire offense. Every play he called his offense, and they won a championship. And I think he was like 17-0, so he never lost a game. But whatever it is about Drew that George Payton likes, I think every step toward here has been, Drew, I like you and I'm giving you a chance. I mean, we said we were going to get he's done exactly what he said he's going to do. We've gotten a veteran quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater to mentor, to teach Drew, and to bring that veteran experience to the quarterback room, while at the same time, Drew's still working hard, and whatever it is. I mean, even the Broncos country, Dove Valley wants Justin Fields to have Justin Fields or Aaron Rodgers. George Payton sees something, and maybe it's just something that we don't see yet. But if Drew Lock goes out there and tanks, Broncos Twitter would have been right. But if he goes out there and succeeds, then are we gonna start to trust Payton? Are we gonna be on the Drew Lock train again? What's gonna happen? I think it's just we just gotta wait and just see what it bears out. Because I mean, like the announcer said in the draft, they said there's no reason. I think they said Devontae Smith was on the board, but they said there's no need because the Broncos wide receiver room is loaded. Yeah. So now it's really the onus is really all on Drew Lock.
So if it's any consolation, at least Fields went to the Bears, so he has no chance of being like this generational quarterback that we can all, be so disappointed that we passed on.
I mean, you could have said that about the Bills, right? When Josh Allen went to the Bills.
Yeah.
I think we have a better chance.
Happen again.
But I think for the
as I stand right now, the Bears.
I think.
Yeah, let's grab this Nando comment. Pick makes no sense.
The Broncos won.
He's a good player, but why not Fields? It feels like they're the only ones who didn't take someone at a position they really needed in the top 15 picks. Well, the Bengals also made an idiotic choice as well. See, I like Jamar Chase going to the Bengals.
I do too.
Right?
I picked him in my mock draft.
He was teammates with Burrows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so
huge here.
Yeah, so like again, it's not so much that Denver didn't draft Fields because obviously we all wanted a quarterback, but it's not that they didn't draft Fields, and it's not against Patrick Surtain. It's that there was someone that was available that was at a much higher need than Patrick Surtain was, and for me, it's Slater. Like I would have much rather had gone Slater because last year we had James opt out, and then they had Elijah Wilkinson in there. He's gone. Then they had DeMar Dotson. He's gone. So who's backing up Juwan James? So I would have much rather had gone with Slater instead of Surtain.
He was my choice. He was who I had picked. Going into the draft, I was hoping we'd trade back and get Slater.
Yeah, and we didn't even need to trade back because he would have gone at 10, but like we should have. I personally thought we should have got him at 9.
Yep.
I'd have been happy with that choice too.
And instead, we went ahead and let a division rival.
I can agree with that pick. I mean, we took all the time down, and then they showed George Payton on the phone at like 3 seconds left to pick. So I mean, I'm thinking, we're getting ready to trade back, and then nothing happens. And like, I'm happy about the Patrick Surtain pick. It was a pick of, hey, all our quarterbacks were injured last year. Let's make sure that doesn't happen again. I think Broncos country is more upset because it wasn't exciting. Last year I was excited about getting Jerry Jeudy. This year, Patrick Surtain is great. He's, apparently they like him, but it just wasn't. Like I said, I definitely prefer Rashawn Slater. Definitely, okay, we got another good tackle, another fast tackle. He can back up Juwan James at right tackle. He's high on the draft, on everybody's draft board. And that's definitely a more need, especially with picking up Kyle Fuller and Ronald Darby. We definitely need a right tackle. And I think it's safe to say we're going to get those later on in the draft. But, I mean, I just hope George Payton knows what he's doing.
Isaiah, you're totally right. As I'm watching the clock tick down, and I'm like, and you see Peyton on the phone, you see Vic kind of stroll over to him. Oh my God. And I'm like, and then they show Fields.
Yeah,
and he's sitting there.
Set up for a trade back.
He's sitting there, not on his phone, and he's it's like he's watching a Lifetime movie with his mom, like it's like, and I'm like, oh my God, this is not happening right now.
Well, and then Kliss went and ruined the moment by tweeting it out before it happened.
I was not on Twitter, but my wife comes in a couple minutes later. She goes, "Did the Broncos get who you wanted?" I'm like, "Does it look like they got?"
I walked in the house. I walked in the house while I
Taking the whole 10 minutes. Taking the whole 10 minutes definitely built this insane suspense. Like, oh, what's he gonna do? It's gonna be good, and then.
Listen,
Exactly.
I can personally tell
they
you.
must be
and then of course, Roger Goodell.
I was more excited.
I can personally tell you that.
About San Francisco's pick than I was ours.
Yeah.
I mean, I can honestly tell you that I've wanted Justin Fields since coming out of high school, since Elite 11, and but I never thought we'd be in a position to get him because I thought he'd be drafted too high.
Did you watch him on that show QB1?
Oh yeah, that too. And for him to come up to our pick and them to just kind of go by, that was a moment for me.
It hurt a little bit. And I mean, I wasn't that crazy about, I've not been pounding the table for a quarterback in the first round, but when I saw him on the board, I was like, you got to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again,
without giving up anything, he fell right into our laps. You know, I was prepared to be on this appearance tonight in my barrel, like in celebration, but
no shirt, no pants, nothing, just the barrel.
Just a pair.
I would have been just a barrel, just like Barrel Man. Yeah, but no such.
Get up.
Yeah, but no, it wasn't that I hated the pick. It was that I hated.
Let's say Justin Fields did fall to us.
He did fall to us, Isaiah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think you meant as if he was chosen.
No, I'm saying say he didn't. What would have been? Who was on your board for number 9? If you had everybody you wanted was still on the board, who would you have taken at number 9?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't hate the Surtain pick, but I would have much rather had gotten a more impactful player year 1, and that would have been Slater. So Slater would have been my choice.
I also didn't value any defensive players in the top 10.
You don't think he would have been in the same situation? You think Slater would have started?
I think Slater would have started. No, I think it would have been Juwan James. But you have.
I think that he would have been our only backup to James, so probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably. I think given James's history, it would have only been a matter of time before Rashawn Slater was starting for us if we picked him.
Slater would have been the right tackle of the future. Like, they're not going to pay.
So you think Slater
James
would have more of a chance of playing than Surtain?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Potentially. Yeah. Potentially, we have a lot of injuries on the secondary as well. So I saw Darby has an injury history. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm saying I didn't value any of the players in the top 10. Any of the defensive players in the top 10 at all. So,
I think most rankings had offensive players in the top 10. Just offensive players.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, it's not that I hate the pick. It's just that we could have gotten somebody that.
So what do
you
guys think about Michael Ojemedia? What do you think about Michael Ojemedia now moving the strong safety behind Kareem Jackson and Surtain possibly starting year 1? Because I know Michael Ojemedia I think he played a little bit of safety and last year as well. So what do you think about him being Kareem Jackson's replacement? I
don't know why that would be a good idea. I mean, if you're looking at if you're looking at the youngsters we had last year, Ojemedia was definitely the better corner. So I don't know why you would take Ojemedia out of being a corner.
Yeah, he only had really 2 bad games, so
I wouldn't put it out of my mind, but I also think this safety draft is really deep. So I think there's definitely a potential to get someone from. But you'll also need multiple. So you
can pick up some decent safeties in rounds 3 and 4.
Yeah,
it's amazing safeties in rounds 3 and 4.
It's a maybe. Probably not.
So who's your starting secondary? Right
who's
now,
starting secondary?
Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
Was that your question?
I think it's.
No, I think it's who. Yeah. What would your starting with the addition of Surtain?
I think it's the way that it was before the draft. I don't
even see him starting.
Are you
right now.
are you talking in nickel or?
If we're just talking like the starting
I'm
five
just
in the
talking about
secondary,
okay. So yeah, so let's say
Yeah,
I
three
mean,
corner-
if we're
three
playing nickel
cornerbacks,
defense,
you'd say.
Bryce Callahan's obviously going to be the nickel. Who's
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
Calla-
wouldn't it be Darnold? It'll be Darnold.
it'll be
It'll
Darby,
be
Fuller,
Darnold and
Callahan,
Fuller.
Yeah,
and then Simmons and Jackson.
Jackson. Yeah.
I don't even think Surtain starts.
Mm-mm.
Not yet.
So what about
He'll
a Don?
develop.
What about a Don? So you okay? So
You're breaking up.
you
Yep.
think the Broncos?
Yeah, we're
are in a
losing
good
you,
position to
Isaiah.
have-
Can you repeat?
Can you hear me? Is it a little bit better now? Is it a little bit better?
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
It is.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm saying that's a good problem to have though. If you're the Broncos secondary or the Broncos defense, to have a number 9 draft pick benched or not benched but not start.
Yeah,
To
but
me, I
I'm
almost
also
saw this
saying it's
pick,
the
like-
value though. Like
I mean, I
the
understand-
depth
you
of
guys hear me?
this
Can you guys
this
hear me?
cornerback class, you could get someone back further that would give you potentially the same value because if he's a depth piece that could still learn from the current players that you're paying like pretty pennies for and are veterans, I think you get more value out of that than I mean, don't get me wrong, Surtain could be very good, absolutely, but I would have much rather traded back if we weren't going to just for the based off value.
I agree.
Mike, it looks like some of the people in the
Yeah, I
chat
would-
have some
I
ideas
agree
for
with
tomorrow.
Yep, I was getting there. So, let's see. So we've got George.
Where is Johnny driving? Like, how far? Like,
He's just driving around the block in circles.
No, man, my commute, my work
I just
commute
saw
is
welcome
53
to,
minutes every day.
Canada's.
There's one way.
So George Moravi's got JOK, Morrig, and Tevin Jenkins round 2.
Johnny's
would
going to
be awesome.
Cleveland to the
He's going to Cleveland. He's going to bump
Don't
into
you worry,
Generic.
Glenn. I'm almost home safe.
And then Adams got, I agree, but what about Cox or Browning in the second?
I would like a linebacker.
Yeah, I was
I would too.
kind of upset that Davis went off so early.
I
Or a
like
tackle.
Bro Cox, but also like
He went off really early, actually. So that
Yeah.
was good.
Tevin Jenkins or a Spencer
I didn't know
Brown
he was
in
going to
the
go
second would
that
be nice.
early. I did not know he was going to go that early.
Who? Zabin?
There was. I like
I think
JOK. I
Davis-
really like JOK.
Isaiah, we're losing you again, dude.
Okay, so we got, I mean, we obviously I could go over all the draft picks, but we kind of know who it is. But there's one draft pick that really makes me angry, and that's the Chargers getting Slater. That makes me
Agreed.
very angry. The other one that I laugh at is the Raiders with Leatherwood.
Yeah, what the world?
Have fun with that one. But yeah, I mean,
Hashtag Grudenism.
I think that for the most part, the first round kind of went how everybody thought it was going to go.
In
I mean,
some ways.
There are some differences. I thought that there was going to be more trade ups in the top 10. Obviously, there wasn't.
There wasn't a single one, was there? Wait, no.
No,
No, there was at 10.
There was
at 10. But
the Eagles.
Yeah, it was
moved up with
division rivals. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
Eagles
weird.
moved
Yeah,
up with
what
the
the-
Cowboys. And I mean, I will say, like, I think the Eagles probably got a steal in Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I'm with you, Mundungus. I honestly, as like kind of like disappointed as I was, I kind of stood up and spun my chair out from under me for a second there when we actually made the Surtain pick. I think I was on my feet cursing when the Chargers got Slater. Like I was legitimately like saying some really bad words into the air very loudly.
while on a call.
No. Thank God. There was no 911 calls active at the time. But
911, what's your emergency? You got to be kidding me!
that's exactly how it would have meant, just with a little bit more colorful language sprinkled in there. But
George Moravi saying Bowles, Reisner, Cushenberry, Muti, and Jenkins as a future offensive line is just, and he's got the drooly face. I mean, that would be awesome if we could get Tevin Jenkins in the second.
yeah, but
'cause
do you think there's any
thought
chance
for
Tevin
sure-
Jenkins falls to 40?
Tevin
Maybe.
Jenkins falls
I
for it?
thought-
Maybe.
I thought for sure he was going to go on the first.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But
saying.
I also thought JOK was going to go in the first.
Let me see.
True.
Second round
You
is
were
Jets,
saying
Falcons.
Jets were looking at Jenkins, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jets have. I mean, potentially Jets have the first or the second pick of tomorrow. The Jaguars could take him too. Jaguars,
any more
Jets, Falcons,
Clemson prospects
Dolphins,
that the
Eagles,
Jets-
Bengals, Panthers. Yeah.
We just need to take everybody from Alabama. Just the whole
I mean,
team.
that's pretty much what the first round was anyway.
Mike's
Yeah.
saying not even the university. He's like thinking like citizens.
No, just the whole state. Just the entire state. Just take everybody from
Can
Alabama.
I bring my sister though?
That sounds like a good idea to me.
Do you guys have a
illegal
pick
in
that
Colorado.
you would hate, or like you may not know names, but like a position that you would be really annoyed if they picked it with the
Defensive tackle.
40s?
Cornerback.
corner?
Yeah, it would be picking quarterback.
Just cornerback.
Oh, I don't
Hey,
know.
so Jess,
I'm
let me ask
kind
you a
of.
question. So if
Go ahead.
Jabril Cox or at pick 40, Jabril Cox or JOK, who do you guys pick? Pick 40.
Jabril Cox.
See, I like
But-
JOK.
But
Over
here's my problem though. I don't necessarily know if I would pick either one of those two over Kellen Mond.
I don't know about that.
I was going to
I
ask
agree.
about Kellen Mond, but
I'm kind of out of the QB market now. I
Your
just
face
rather-
is out of QB market.
You don't want a backup, another backup?
no.
I'm out of the QB.
I know after his football team cuckolded him, Boggins is out of the QB
Yeah.
market right now.
No joke.
Huggins so mad.
He's completely
I know.
demoralized.
I would out of JOK and Jabril Cox. I mean, I would literally just probably leave that up to Vic Fangio, depending on how he could like if he feels he could use JOK, then yeah. But I don't know. Like maybe JOK as a box safety. I don't know. He's just kind of a weird hybrid fit that I don't know if he'd fit super well in our scheme. So probably more of a Jabril Cox, but he has problems.
Well,
I'd
Vic
probably say
Fangio
more
tends to-
Baron Browning would probably be the pick as far as linebacker there.
Well, what we definitely need is a pass coverage linebacker, and all three of those linebackers are it. But the reason why I'm so high on JOK is because I know Vic Fangio, number one, runs a versatile hybrid defense, and he likes versatile hybrid players. So I would think if you're looking for versatility in a hybrid, I would think JOK would be more of the he can play outside linebacker in coverage, but he can also play in the box safety. That's why I'm so high on him. That's why I prefer him if he was at 40. But if Jabril Cox was there at 40 as a strictly third down pass coverage linebacker, not forgetting that we have Justin Sternad, I wouldn't be upset at that either. And I also wouldn't be upset at Kellen Mond either.
Yeah. Travis Tarbox, Jenkins is a mauler if he's there at 40. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be great.
Muhammad says JOK. Jess, what if the offense still can't figure it out this season? I will be extremely pissed. And I think that all goes back to figuring out if
Aaron Rodgers will come here.
Yeah. I'm not going to hold out hope for that. I mean, like I told you in the text message, like we are fan led, not fact led. So wish on, man. Let's dream.
Christos has a thought too.
I was getting there.
I'm just moving things.
Christo
along.
can never go wrong with Jenkins on your team.
Don't
And that's
jinx it.
He just wants
Well,
a Jenkins jersey.
I was
and he
gonna
doesn't have
say,
to pay
and-
for personalization. Yeah.
And I was going to say again, like for those who weren't here early, it's not that we have a problem with the Surtain pick. It's that we could have gotten a more impactful pick.
I
at
love the
9.
player. Like,
Yeah,
love the player,
Love
not
the
the
player,
value.
but we could have gotten more impact the first year out of a Slater or traded back and gotten a linebacker or something like that. I'm not saying necessarily quarterback like Fields. Like I would have loved to have Fields, but even if it wasn't that we didn't get Fields that made me mad. It was that the player that we picked was a player that we didn't need in a position that we had already filled in free agency. So it wasn't that I hated the player. It's that we could have gotten a more impactful pick.
I said
We drafted Surtain strictly for depth.
what's that, Isaiah? I'm sorry.
I mean, for this year,
I
yeah.
said so. We drafted Surtain. That's Yeah, I see what you're saying, Mike. Now that I know we draft him strictly for depth, especially in the top 10, you don't draft for depth because you're in the top 10 for a reason.
Right, but who does he replace?
Right. I mean, it's a weird situation it's a good situation that we're drafting for depth, but we're in the top 10 for a reason. We don't need to be drafting for depth. If there's any player, what player in the draft can we have picked 9 that would have started immediately?
So
maybe quarterback is the only one.
So
well,
again,
I don't know because depending on the linebacker, it could have been linebacker, and again, James could stub his toe in training camp and be out for 15 games, and then we need a right tackle. So, I mean,
and ideally, you don't have a roster where you have to draft for starters because you don't. Ideally, you don't want to have first round starters a lot of the time because it means you have serious holes. Again, with back to the value of the cornerback. I mean, not just the position, it's like the player as well. I just didn't value any of them in the top 10, but I do really like Patrick Surtain. I thought he was probably I think I had him 2 on my board. I really like Greg Newsome as well. So I really like Kelvin. I wanted Kelvin Joseph in the second round. So that was a bummer.
Patrick Surtain was in our initial conversation when we started talking about cornerbacks in the draft. It was Farley and Surtain were the ones we were talking about. So he's always been a player that we looked at.
Yeah.
But then he went Fuller, and we had Callahan, and then he signed Darby, and it's like, okay, well, we don't really need a corner, so let's go get a player at 9 that can make an impact, and then we didn't. So it was more like meh.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect to Surtain, but I'm hoping that he's a piece to the trade puzzle for Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
I think if we get Rodgers, I truly believe that we will be a Super Bowl participant. No doubt about that. I'm just
all the pieces are there.
Mm-hmm.
All the pieces are there.
Can you imagine him with our weapons? I mean, and our defense? It's funny. I said to my wife, I'm like, oh my gosh, our tickets are going to be worth a fortune if Rodgers is on the team, and then they pick Surtain. I'm like, and they're worthless. Just like
someone in this podcast is missing his chin strap.
Who would that be?
That would be
exactly
Glenn.
sure what that means.
Talk about the beard, yo.
Oh yeah, we all got.
My delivery has not come in yet. Yeah,
it's
he's got straight up white hair, so you can't even see it.
Chris knows. Quit reminding Glenn about his alopecia. God,
I was going with old age, but that works.
I placed an order with Merkin.com, and they're supposed to got a couple of them.
I tried to will some of the hair from my face to your head, Glenn. It didn't work.
Dude, that could cover like everybody's head. I mean, that is fierce. How long has that taken?
It's glorious, my friend.
How long has that taken?
A day.
Believe it or not, shorter than you think. This is 2 years.
Oh my gosh, that's unbelievable.
I grow facial hair unbelievably fast. When I was in the Army, I had to shave twice a day.
Me too.
No kidding.
No, I get it. This is a week.
Johnny had to register his beard with his town. I don't know if you know that.
So Jess, is this
my
Aaron's
beard?
last year
My
on his
beard ran
contract?
for mayor. My beard ran for mayor, and he was the runner-up.
Jess C13, is this Aaron's last year on his contract? Because if we suck this year and get a high pick and sign Aaron in free agency, I'd be pumped.
No,
not at all.
No,
nope.
He has like 3 years.
So I was about to say 2 or 3.
Yeah, but he hasn't out
he's
next year.
He's trying to redo his contract because he has no more guaranteed money.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It would be an interesting process trying
and
to.
those State Farm commercials just aren't paying the bills, you guys.
Yeah, I don't know about trade if he has a trade clause attached, but yeah, it'd be an.
No, he was one of the ones that didn't have a trade clause.
Sure.
I think he signed till the end of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Tarbox sucks that Jamin Davis is off the board. I agree.
Yeah,
that was a high pick. Wasn't that hype?
Although I'm with Isaiah. I was always personally a little bit higher on JOK, but that was just me.
Well, and I had Davis going. I wanted Denver to trade back to like 20 and take Davis. He went 19. But I didn't see Washington taking a linebacker. That was a little surprising.
That was a little weird.
I figured they would go
cornerback.
Well, they were
corner
projected.
or line.
Yeah,
Washington was
to replace what they
projected
lost.
to draft JOK, so I'm not surprised.
Guys, I'm gonna hit the road. I have to get up early tomorrow, but
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, they've called for lights out at the senior at the senior center.
That's what it is.
Center, yeah.
Be-
My
beard
Jell-O
opt-out.
just got delivered, so I'm all set.
It's only a hair past
Don't-
one there.
Glenn, don't forget your Metamucil, okay? Okay.
It all depends. Anyway, nice
milk.
to meet you, Johnny and Isaiah, in person for the first time, and welcome
Yeah.
to
Literally not in person.
MHRT.
Yeah,
We
while
are
Isaiah's
so
on
excited
on
to
the
have you
pod.
guys. So fun.
Listen, we're all over the country, okay? It's probably the closest we're ever going to get to actually meeting in person.
Mhm, that's
Yeah,
right.
nice to meet you.
We're
brother.
all meeting Isaiah while he's on a drug sting.
I know, Isaiah. When does the job interview start? All right, nice meeting you guys. Have a
have a
let's
good night,
hope let's hope tomorrow and Saturday are killer for the
This
team.
We'll see you soon,
Yeah.
Glenn.
Nice to meet you, brother.
All right, see you, boys.
Later.
See ya.
Oh, finally he's gone.
Now we can talk about it.
Now we can say what we really want to say.
Jesse 13, love ESPN questioning the Raiders pick, always laughing. Why is it always
You know
the
what?
Raiders that make like stupid picks?
Because
Jess,
Mayock's the draft guy. And so he makes these.
Right?
He wants everybody to think he's cool, and so
And
he drafts
even like
these deep cuts.
who's the safety that they picked? Jonathan
Which
was it
one?
Abrams?
Abrams
It's like-
or Carl Joseph? What are you talking about?
No, it was Abrams. He's always like tackling wrong, getting flagged, or getting hurt.
Yeah,
like
he's the
every
one.
year.
He's the one that tackled. I don't remember who he tackled, but then went flying off the field and ran into the camera truck.
Yeah.
That was like on the field, and you're like, why is there a camera truck so close to the field? Just ran into the huge tire.
So are there any picks in the first round that you found surprising?
Jamin Davis,
definitely
linebacker.
the Raiders taking Leatherwood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
There's Miami took Jalen Phillips. I think Glenn was like, Jalen just got a
Cincinnati passing up on play school, and
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, it does make sense though to pair Chase with
who got
Burrow.
I
Miami
mean,
taking Waddle over
Joe Burrow?
Devontae Smith to me.
Which is cool. I mean, it's cool that they picked Waddle and paired him with Tua because they were teammates together.
Yeah, I just felt Devontae
Yeah,
would have
but
been
so-
a better
yeah.
fit than Waddle. But
It seems like there was a whole lot of quarterbacks reuniting with their old targets in the first round tonight.
yeah,
They took who took the Jags took the running back from Clemson.
Yeah,
Yep.
which is a bit of a slap in the face to A-Rob. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting backfield.
And didn't Najee? It isn't Najee. No, not Najee.
Najee.
Yeah.
Najee Harris.
He went to the
Yeah.
Steelers.
Where'd you go?
He left.
Hold on.
Yeah, I think I only
I
got
didn't.
9.
You didn't have Najee Harris going that high, did you? To the Steelers?
Who? Me?
Boggins.
Yeah.
I got 5 out of 5.
He's been mocked to the Steelers for a while now.
Oh, I thought you had him going in the second.
No.
No, I wouldn't have picked Najee to go to the Steelers there at all.
That's exactly why I said when we were like first talking about this that I don't think we would be in play for Najee Harris unless we traded back. And I still didn't value what we needed in a running back at that position.
I
still
personally don't think that that there's really any value in a running back in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, look at even
Who are
Saquon
you,
Barkley;
Nick?
he was just hurt.
No, I agree with him. I mean, you know what, Nick, you leave him out of this. No,
Leave him out of this.
you know what? No, I truly just agree with him on that. I mean, I actually held that opinion long before I heard Nick say it.
Mm.
Travis Tarbox, is there anyone in particular that you guys really want? Not sure about some of the later rounds.
I'm pretty.
Well,
much
I think
out
at
of
this point
the-
we all want Jenkins or JOK.
Yeah. I'd take either one, a linebacker, right tackle. I mean, I think we're just going to start naming off positions that we'd like to fill.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, and
fill depth
I'm
at.
going to be honest with you. Outside of the first round, first round talent, I haven't been able to do as much deep diving research, so I don't know a whole lot of the guys, from the second round on.
Adam Sears, what would you guys give up for Rodgers? My house, my cars, my kids, my dogs, my wife. What do you want?
That's fair.
Sorry, hon.
I think we can give up.
So would that
It would be a
say
post
the Broncos are
June.
a quarterback away from the Super Bowl?
I would sign with Jake from State
It
Farm.
depends on who the
Depends who the quarterback is.
quarterback is. Like if it's Aaron Rodgers, yeah, easily.
Yeah, for Rodgers, I would definitely sign with Jake from State Farm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't think our offense is
I will say this though.
Our offense is experienced enough. I mean, you're going to have Jerry Jeudy, who's arguably the best route runner in the league already. Second year, KJ
Tim
Hamler,
Patrick in his
Gidget,
third.
Tim Patrick, solid.
You
got
pair
Sutton.
what we
Sutton,
currently have on offense, the weapons we have on this offense with Aaron Rodgers, we're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, what has Aaron Rodgers had to work with receivers besides Devontae Adams?
I was going to say
He's been in the
Devontae
NFC
Adams.
Championship 2 years in a row.
That's it.
Cobb.
That's it.
Cobb hasn't been there in forever.
No, he was there. He wasn't there last year. He was there the year before that, wasn't he?
Yeah,
He
the
came
reason
back.
Because it was his first year with the Cowboys last year, wasn't it?
Was it? I thought it's been longer than that.
No.
Leave me alone. I'm old.
I'm sure Aaron Rodgers would want a rematch with Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now this is one thing that I want to know. Do you think that the Packers picking the corner, Eric Stokes, is going to appease Aaron Rodgers?
Heck no.
Hell no.
Shoot.
I mean, I will say this: like one of the main reasons why they lost that playoff game, the championship game,
Both of
was
them.
because their defense let them down.
Both of them.
Sure, absolutely. But do I think that that's going to be enough for him to be like,
No.
okay, I don't need more guaranteed money?
No.
Was there even any wide receivers left at that point that are worth a first round pick?
Not really.
Depends on what you view as a first round pick for a receiver. But yeah.
Why do you got to make it so difficult? Why can't you just say yes or no?
I mean, some people projected Elijah Moore is still there, Terrence Marshall. There is multiples.
They
So
were
maybe-
high on that Rashad Bateman guy, but
Mhm.
Yeah, I
he
didn't
got
see
picked.
Rashad Bateman going in the first.
Oh, I did.
If he would have been there when the Packers were up, they would have picked him for sure.
Goofy, get JOK. I don't disagree.
That was
Yeah,
that was
I'm
simple.
okay with
That right there, end the pod. Boom. That was
Boom.
No.
That's
Mhm.
it. Packer GM said they weren't going to trade Aaron, but would have to work things. Work two things? I don't know. Yeah, that whole situation's weird. I guess, and I didn't even find out about it until I was watching Pat McAfee, which you definitely don't want to learn news from Pat McAfee. But
I had
I
a
was
guy
watching
that
it, and
told you so
they-
based off of Pat McAfee. McAfee had a report that they weren't picking Mac Jones, and I said, "You're using Pat McAfee as a resource." And then when it happened, he's like, "Told you." I'm like, I also didn't lock Mac Jones there, but you can't use Pat McAfee as a resource.
Yeah, but I guess the off season, they've been trying to work on redoing a deal with Rodgers, and they've constantly been going back and forth between Rodgers and Green Bay, and it's just been getting worse and worse and worse. And now I guess it's just like anytime they talk, it's a shouting match. So it sounds like,
It sounds like a domestic assault.
it sounds like for them and yee-haw for us.
You know what's really funny is Albright just tweeted, "LOL, what are the Packers going to say? Yeah, we might trade him. Thank you for allowing us to diminish any value he had by vocalizing that." So, of course, they're going to say, no, we don't want to trade him. We don't want to trade him. Like, make me an offer.
Make
No,
me
we
enough
don't-
where I can refuse.
I'm sure Patrick or
Well,
Hamilton.
and
is
let's
selecting
be
Jordan
honest.
Love
Let's be
to-
honest. As good a quarterback as Jordan Love is, potentially. they're even with their issues, they don't want to let him go. I mean, he is a top 3 quarterback. I mean, regardless of just shopping his trade value, would you want to lose a top 3 quarterback? I wouldn't.
And the funny part is, you look at that roster without Aaron Rodgers. Good luck.
It's trash.
Good luck. You literally defense has been the reason you screwed up those last 2 NFC championships. Besides coaching, and you have decent O-line on one side, some okay RBs, and Aaron Rodgers, and then Devontae Adams. But
and Devontae Adams is his contract is up next year.
Yeah, so there you go.
And I do apologize, guys, for the quality of my camera right now. Since I got out of the car, I was just stuck with my phone. I haven't switched over to my much nicer high definition webcam, but
high standard operation here.
We're not professional.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are.
I don't know. Isaiah's wearing a suit.
Yes.
He's professional.
True that.
Yeah, drug sting. Jesse 13, is Tim Patrick the odd man out in the starting wide receiver spots? 1 Sutton, 2 Judy, 3 Hamler, 4 Patrick. I honestly think it's going to be Sutton, Patrick, and then Judy in the slot, and then Hamler and Judy switching in and out. That's my feeling.
I think, I think, of course, Hamler. Well, I think he might be be able to trade some touches on special teams with Tyree Cleveland and Deontay Spencer. So.
And you're never going to help yourself by doing numbers in front of receivers, because it's just depends on the set of it. Because like Mundouglas was saying, like you're going to have one on one side, like the X, and one in the Z on the opposite side, and then Judy and Hamler could rotate in the middle. It depends on if you're empty set or whatnot. So they're going to utilize a lot of those receivers. I mean, you can never, especially when you just have one. You have Hamler run a post, a deep post, and then let him come off the field, and then Judy comes in. You know what I mean? Like rotation, I mean,
and that's the thing that made me so upset last year was like Judy, and obviously losing Sutton didn't help, but Judy is like a godsend in the slot. Like route running is the slot's job. Like you go in there and you run your route precisely, catch the ball, and then yards after catch. That's what Judy does. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, it's Sutton and Patrick on the outside, Judy and Hamler on the inside in the slot.
Imagine
and let's not forget, you'll still have Noah Fant.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be
yeah.
And teams are going to have to find it when they see Noah Fant on the field. Teams are going to have to find an answer for him.
Alberto on the other side. You can still bring in Tyree Cleveland and
that's the hazing for joining MHRT. You have to pronounce Albert's last name correctly.
Oh, I know that because that's my alma mater, Albert Okwigbo. Albert Okwigbo.
Oh, he was close. All right, cool. Okwibunam. That's what they say in Madden, so that's what it really is.
Okabukaboo. Albert Knoppers. I think the Surtain pick is great. So do we. We just aren't a big fan of picking corner there. But
Albert Knoppers, are you certain the certain pick is great?
Mm-hmm. Are you certain?
But sorry, Albert. I'm sorry. I had to. Shirley, you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
I think that's about all we got for comments. How do you see the second round playing out for the 40th pick?
Not another cornerback.
God no.
Well, I mean, do you think
maybe
that Jenkins falls that far back? Do you think JOK falls that far back?
I don't think Jenkins gets
we got Browning. We've got Cox.
I don't think Tevin Jenkins makes it past 35.
That's kind of young.
Touche.
I don't think JOK makes it past.
Says the 35-year-old.
It's 12:30 in the morning. I'm tired. Leave me alone.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm actually usually still just winding down from getting home from work at this time. So this is normal for me. I could go all night. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to.
Well, me neither.
I haven't taken my little blue pill.
It's just it's weird. And again, repeating for anybody that wasn't here at the beginning, it's not that we have a problem with Surtain. It's that we have a problem with the lack of usage that he could possibly get his first year, as opposed to like a Rashawn Slater or something like that.
And I think we were all expecting just something monumental right there. It was like, There were so many. It wasn't just Fields that was sitting there at 9. There was so many options, all of which were just like, and then we're like Patrick Surtain, and we're like, oh
no.
It's like going to Disney World and like, it's been built up and built up and built up for you, and then you stand in line for 6 hours for this one ride that's just been like, you just had your mind, and then you just kind of get on and you're like, well, that was fun, but I don't think I'm going to buy the picture.
It's kind of like one of those where like you trade your franchise, or you trade your franchise quarterback to go, or you trade for a franchise quarterback, but the trade involves your best wide receiver.
Yes,
exactly. And you're like, well, crap.
Well, whatever we pick now, we're gonna have to lose value on either tackle, linebacker, or safety, and we're gonna have to decide what's the most important, because this second and third is gonna be where a lot of the chunks are, unless we want to trade back up.
So Boggins, being our college expert, then in your opinion, based on who's still there, shut up, Mike. being probably the most well versed of all of us in the college players, guys coming out of college.
Aside from
based on who is still there and those positions of need, what do you think would be the most likely outcome of tomorrow?
Linebacker, I think.
And who do you think?
I don't know if. Oh well, JOK is still there.
I'll say, what do we got?
Yep.
JOK, Browning,
and Cox, is still there.
Yeah, I also like McGrone.
And Baron Browning is still there, right?
Yeah, I mean, we still got. Yeah, I would say probably linebacker, and then they're just going to probably start falling off the board. The last one who might be rated up that high that I don't like, that I hope we don't, because I think we have versions of him already, is Nick Bolton. That's pretty much the only one of that I wouldn't be okay with out of Baron Browning.
Which is funny. I don't know if y'all caught Broncos live, but that is like the only guy that Steve Atwater wants the Broncos to pick tomorrow.
Yeah,
is Nick Bolton.
No.
Dylan Moses.
No. He's got some major red flags as far as injuries are concerned, and he hasn't. Yeah, and he was trash in coverage this last year. I'd rather like a Tony. Yeah.
So what happens,
or a deep cut like a Tony Fields or a Monty Rice, if we end up getting offensive tackle in second, then we might end up have to go digging a bit for like a Tony Fields or Monty Rice or something.
Well, I was going to say, what happens if Jenkins does fall to 40? Do you take Jenkins or do you take linebacker? That's a good question.
I guess it depends on what linebackers are still there.
I think we go tackle.
Yeah.
JOK, Cox, Browning.
There's no way all of them are there, plus Jenkins. That's going to be like
let's just do one. Let's do one hypothetical.
No,
here.
I'm going.
Reaches 40.
What he said.
Yeah, what he said. Let's do one quick hypothetical. It reaches 40. Okay, Tevin Jenkins is still on the board, and so is JOK. Who do you pick?
The punter from Kentucky.
That's a real tough one. Just because I value the tackle position more, I'd say Jenkins. And I think I also think he's a first round talent. JOK is. It just depends on the system fit. What?
Let me ask this.
Big loss.
Let me ask this.
Yeah.
We need depth at tackle, but we need a pass coverage linebacker desperately. So which one do you think we need more? A pass coverage linebacker? It depends on what. Or a
I think that's
Which one do you think we need more?
I think that's also a common misconception, because it's not like we chase down tight ends commonly. Like, we just have a drop cover, will linebacker usually drop zone, which Josie Jewell does, but he's not as athletic to be able to, like, if he has to do a chase, he's not as fast as, like, that's what Micah Parsons would have done, is he's fast enough to get over to, say, like like in the flat or whatnot, quicker than a Josie Jewell would be. But so I don't think and we also have Justin Sternad still sitting there in the wings, who apparently was looking good in training camp last year. So I don't think I don't think the value of linebacker is as much as a right tackle is in this league, especially when you have a majority of your pass rushers nowadays lining up on that side, because they are, I mean, coaches are very aware that you're going to put your best tackle on the left side. That's why Von Miller has been lining up against right tackles his whole entire career. So
Yeah.
I think right tackle is a bit bigger value than a linebacker position. So that's what
I would
go
agree,
with
Taylor
every day.
Jenkins.
Yeah.
Would anyone trade any
So you
late
say right
rounders to
tackle,
trade up for a second, or a
round,
second, third?
linebacker third.
Was that?
Whoa.
Absolutely, I would. I would. Absolutely, I would. I
couldn't
would
hear what
trade
you
up
said.
for 2 seconds. Now, like get Jenkins and JOK back to back. I would absolutely trade up to get 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, also you got to take into effect, like, remember when we won the Super Bowl with Danny Trevathan and Brandon Marshall? One was like a 5th round pick, the other was like undrafted free agent. So it's not like we can't make it work. I mean, I don't value the linebacker position as much, as long as you have a solid, as long as they know what they're looking at and you have a good defensive scheme that they could be able to drop into the zone that they need to. Then I think you're looking pretty solid. I mean, you can let those tight ends take catches in the short all day, but you're trying not to give up the big play majority. I mean, sacks against your QB are a bigger thing.
But I mean, we've seen AJ Johnson and Josie Jewell play. We've seen AJ Johnson and Josie Jewell play Big Fangio scheme. I'm tired of getting torched by Travis Kelce and Darren Waller, the Raiders, and tight ends from other teams. I'm really tired of getting torched by these tight ends and having these huge games. So, I mean, that's why I'm more higher on a linebacker than a tackle. I think either way, those tackle, linebacker, second and third, or linebacker, tackle. But I'm just really getting tired of getting torched by these tight ends. And we've seen what Josie Jewell and AJ Johnson can do, how they cover in Big Fangio's scheme. So I think a more athletic linebacker would definitely. That's my pick.
I mean, whoa.
Anything else?
Who's haunted? What the heck?
Yeah, that was weird. That ghost. Seeing ghosts.
Me.
Well,
It's the ghost. It's the ghost of the pick that could have been.
All we know is that we definitely need to make progress.
Progress.
There we got it.
Happens every time. Happens every time now.
I didn't mean to wake you up. All right. Well, that's gonna about do it. It's like 12:30 in the morning here, and I'm tired and ready to go to bed. So just to recap, we took Patrick Surtain II or junior as the 9th pick to the Denver Broncos to step into that backfield alongside Fuller and Callahan and Darby. There, I found it.
It's a loaded secondary.
Yeah, that should be fun.
And let me just say this. Broncos country, whoever's watching, be supportive, okay? Look, we get it. None of us were truly thrilled with the pick. But he is in orange and blue, whether you like it or not. Don't be those fans that sit there and dog on him, dog on the team like crazy, because, hey, it ain't going to do you any good.
Mm-hmm. And it's not his fault. He's a really good.
It's not his fault. He's a great player, and he deserved to go, to go high.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to Denver. He's going to be in orange and blue. Let's be happy about it. Let's move on. All right, cool. Thanks. That is my public service message from Mile High Roundtable.
And I second that.
There you go. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and step off. I mean, I know this wasn't as organized as usual, but we just wanted to get our reactions. I mean, it's the first round of the draft, so we just wanted to step in and give our reactions. Definitely want to thank everybody for joining, especially Isaiah being the undercover pimp at a drug raid. So that's it's pretty sweet. Thank you so much. So just remember, we've got the second round tomorrow.
I won't be wearing this Sunday, so
there you go. We got second, third round tomorrow, and then the rest of the draft on Saturday. And then Sunday at 6, 5, 4, 3. We have the Nothing Rhymes podcast, and then every Tuesday at 7, 6, 5, 4 we have Broncos Talk, and then every Thursday at 7654 we have MHRT podcast. So make sure you check into those. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe, follow, and share everything that we do. Hit the notification bell so that you know every time that we post.
And real quick, just regarding the Sunday podcast of Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue. All right, fine.
We're canceling it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. Okay. If any of you guys, since it will be the first pod after the full draft, and we'll have drafted all our players, I'm sure we'll be kind of going through each one and what they bring to the team. If any of you guys want to join us on that pod, we'd love just let me know, because we'd love to have you guys on there.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
We're out. Mile high five.
All right, guys. Mile high five. Mile high salute. We'll see everybody.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
We will see everybody on Sunday and the Nothing Rhymes podcast. And make sure that you catch the next 2 days of the draft and enjoy yourself. See you, everybody.
Go Broncos.
Bye.